This is supposed to be Law and Kids chapter, and they get about maybe 8 pages of screen time in this 19-page book, in this 19-page chapter. Interesting. I wouldn't get too mad about it, but let's just say that I think even Oda is a little bit tired of seeing Eustace Captain Mid. So, yeah, after this pretty crazy chapter, there are some things I want to talk about. So we're gonna start off with the cover story. We clearly see Niji and Yonji doing their normal shtick of being losers, and yeah, they got captured in Coco Island. Anywho, we get a look at Raizo versus Fukuroga, and yeah, that's pretty cool. Raizo is currently burning alive, which is crazy to think about. Um, I think this is a good character moment, mostly because if you remember, Raizo was actually the one complaining about the heat above the pot of oil, and that started a whole little, not riot, but like they were all kind of yapping at each other, all the scabbards, while Odin was boiling to death. Anywho, um, we get a little scene of Jinbei lifting up a piece of the building so it doesn't fall on the samurai who are burning alive, and we actually see dead people. Yes, we see dead people. So technically, Wano does have a body count. Just saying. I mean, it's only the fodder characters, but hey, who knows? An explosion happens. Chopper goes from his baby Grams form back to his regular form, and starts talking, and then the Grim Reaper rolls up on Zoro and yells, "Stop getting away from me." Alright, boys. This is supposed to be a Kid in Law chapter, but I gotta be honest. This is the this is what I wanna see. Like, come on. The Grim Reaper rolls up on Zoro. That is the most interesting thing you have ever seen. This is a fantastic moment and just crazy to look at. Anywho, so Frankie starts rolling on up, and we see that Frankie is getting close to Zoro. Now, this is going to bring up whether it's an illusion cast by some wielder, or if it's actually the Grim Reaper, or if Frankie will even be able to see it. We cut back to the burning building, and on the basement level, and we see Izo is actually hurt. And, he brings up, oh, there were a lot of fodder people, but, who cares? He sees Cypher Pull, and actually, I'm going to make this weird predicament. I think Izo is not going to make it out of this, because the Cypher Pull have clearly been set up as a major threat, and they brought up how they have no business with him, but he has business with them because they're going after the Straw Hats, and the Whitebeard Pirates are really closely aligned with the Straw Hats. But then we cut back to Yamato bonking the bombs with her ice and trying to fight this thing, and as you can probably guess, trying to jump into fire isn't the greatest idea. You notice she went from a hybrid back to human. I think she's really out of stamina. Granted, she was fighting Kaido, but then again, Luffy was also fighting Kaido, got knocked out, and then... Anywho, this isn't a power scaling video, so let's move on. And speaking of moving on, we're finally going to cut back to the most interesting piece. Big Mom versus Law and Kid. Yeah, Law versus Kid is pretty crazy right now. And, we get Big Mom apparently having no mercy and beating the crap out of them, which, I feel like everyone expected. We were all kind of Granted, it doesn't go the way we think because we all thought, Big Mom was going to swipe, Kid or Law's soul. And then maybe that's why the Straw Hats chase her to Elbath or wherever. Yet you know what I mean. That little theory been going around. So Big Mom is basically still beating Law and Kid, you know, as you tend to do. And they both seem to appear unconscious. We actually see a couple of kids pirates, because they all yell at boss. So I'm just assuming that they're kids pirates. I don't. They might have names. I don't. I don't care. It's kids crew. Who cares about anyone other than Killer? Let's be honest. And then Law's crew get together and they decide we are going to jump Big Mom. Yes, this is a genius idea. Smart. And Big Mom literally tells them this is a battlefield and they're all pests. They are irrelevant. Irrelevant. Then we get Big Mom talk about how Kaido has a very distinct victory cry, and she's kind of surprised that Straw Hat is holding his own, but she still thinks, oh, well, Kaido, is playing with his food. Luffy isn't actually dangerous or anything. Meanwhile, Luffy literally just gut punched Kaido so hard that he's having flashbacks. You know, that thing that tends to happen when you're in an intense fight. Um, Law activates Kruma again, and he basically stabs Big Mom through the arm, but also into the side of the face. And everyone, it was funny. People were actually acting like that would kill Big Mom. I mean, I guess from the look of it, it looks like Law murdered her. But, and then he shoots out the Shock Willy, which is more electricity. Oddly enough, Law really seems to like his electricity. I don't know why. Also, about to put it on my headcanon, but see, Law is currently using a shock willy, which means he's using electricity, and that clearly hurts Big Mom. So, if NL were to theoretically hit her with a very powerful electric attack, that would do damage to her because the Gorogoro no Mi most likely can output a quantity of electricity much greater than the shock willy that Law can produce. So, by that logic, NL can actually damage Big Mom, which is a buff to NL. So when he eventually shows back up in the series and decides to fight alongside Luffy against the world government, he will be at Yonko level. Yeah, we have fun here on this channel. So basically, the steel beams, after that little rumble, the steel beams all got wrapped up near Kid and the homies because they won't shut up, and it's very annoying. And then we actually get this very terrifying shot of Big Mom. It is very scary to look at. And then Kid decides, hey, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be in this arc. I gotta be useful. And then pulls out, one of his punk metal things and then hits her. And they both yell about how, he's not going to reach the roof. So, yeah. Pretty good chapter. But now it's time to move on to chapter ratings. What did I think about this chapter? Honestly, I really like this chapter. Maybe not as good as the last one, but then again, last one was I think I gave that maybe a 9 out of 10, but honestly, I think that might have been too low. I think I might actually bump that up, but I'll save that for the end of the year when I eventually, or not end of the year, the end of the arc, or the end of Act 3, if that ever happens, when I do every chapter and every chapter reviewed, smushed into one and all that good stuff. Anywho, so yeah, this chapter was really good. I just found it a little bit off-putting, not from a sense that it was like bad, but like this is supposed to be Kid and Law's chapter. This chapter is titled Big Mom versus Law and Kid, or something to that extent. And a catch-up chapter, but also a setup chapter. So Big Mom did not go down this chapter. The fight just picked back up again, rather than concluding. Compare that to Zoro and Sanji's versus chapters, along with Nico Robin versus Black Maria, and Jinbei versus Who's Who. Also, Frankie's. I don't remember Frankie's too well. I'm not just shush. Um. Anywho, so we get this, and it's pretty good. But then it's like, oh, okay. So next chapter is the actual fight. This was the setup to the fight. Okay, but for what it is, it's very good. It felt off, and also this was a. I think it's a shorter chapter than usual. Now, granted, this is just my headcanon thing, but it definitely felt shorter than the others, and felt like, oh man, we gotta catch up. We gotta catch up. Because last chapter we caught up to Luffy and Kaido, the like main dish, and now we're like, oh shoot, what did we do with the side characters? And it's like, oh shoot, yes, we did that. Um, Things for the future, obviously Zoro and the Grim Reaper and Law and Kid, along with Izo. I gotta be honest, I don't think Izo. He might actually die, because like, look, I know death in One Piece is not very common, and I know I'm probably getting my hopes up, but they haven't really established CP9 as a or CP0 as a big threat. Like honestly, from the look of things, it feels like CP9 was just as much of a threat as CP0. They don't like, oh well, Robin was scared of him. Robin, as in the chick who is scared of every world government guy above, like I honestly think she'd be scared of a vice admiral if it showed up. I gotta be honest. I'm surprised that she wasn't losing her mind when Garp rolled up. I gotta be honest. Like, so she's marine hype sometimes, whereas like none of the other characters really care too much about the Marines, except maybe now Luffy. But even then, I think Luffy really only cares about admirals. I doubt there's any vice admirals that Luffy is sweating against. And with how powerful Luffy has gotten now, there's a reason he's not sweating against most vice admirals. Um, Anywho, though, enough of my little tangent. I'm just saying, I think it would be better for the story and for the world government as antagonists to be hyped up in this way for Izo to die. Because let's face it, most of us don't care about Izo. Some of the scabbards need to die this arc. They are literally walking ghosts. That is the point. That is something that has been brought up. We all want the scabbards to die, not because we're malicious and we hate them, but because we think it would be good storytelling for the scabbards to die. Basically, what I was saying is, Izo should die. Izo should die. Boom, boom, bop. Done. Okay? Cool. Glad we all understand each other. Now, apart from that, setup, really good chapter. What am I going to give it? 8. No. 8.5. Yes. I'm giving it an 8.5. Why? Because everything in the chapter was good. I was a little bit disappointed that there was less Law and Kid fighting Big Mom. Big Mom. But apart from that, it was really good. We caught up to a lot of characters, but it was very interesting watching them, and I was never bored throughout the chapter. The chapter was pretty well paced. Everything made sense. I'm really looking. I feel like the government has been getting more and more involved with Wano, and I'm excited to see that. Big Mom and Kid and Law's fight is gonna, be really. I think it's going to get elevated after this point, which is really nice. And almost everything feels pretty good. I don't see many problems with it. Also, the cover story is still really good. I think that two Niji and Yonji both being captured is something that's gonna, have consequences and interest in the story, and it also builds intrigue right now. And With everything that's going on, it's just a solid chapter. So I think an 8.5 out of 10 is rightfully deserved. But after saying all this, I gotta ask you guys, make sure that you tell me your opinions. Yes, I actually want to know your opinions about this chapter. And if you can, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye.